See, Turek, your mind, it is like a gun. And you want to load it up with little itty bitty bullets of knowledge.
What's going on, family? It's your guy, Boy, the Lucky Libra. Thank you for tuning in to another episode, all right? As you can see by the title, we're picking up signs through the second house, all right, with Scorpio in the second house, all right? So make sure to check out my website to connect with the Lucky Libra. I could cop my astrology classes up there. I got my planetary aspects class, fundamentals, you know, to reading the natal chart class up there from my Patreon, and y'all want to check that out as well. I'm getting into, you know, deeper analysis, more exclusive content, monthly collective readings, and more. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. Now, the second house, when we look at the second house in the zodiac, Earth house, all right? All Earth houses dealing with career, structure, organization, building stability, all right, through the natal energies. And when we look at the second house specifically, is dealing with our value system. So what we value externally and internally, all right? The people, places, and things we value outside of us, and the value we feel like we have to give out to the world, all right? Our talents, our traits, what we're good at, our self-esteem, all right? Our creative attributes, and all of this ultimately turns into what we can utilize in order to build some security, stability, how we can manifest some monetary gains in this lifetime. So the second house has a huge emphasis on our career approach. Now, when we have Scorpio here, most of the time will be my Libra risings, all right? This may be maybe my Scorpio risings. This could be my it could be some Virgo risings, depending on house alignment, depending on intercepted houses or whatnot, all right? But when we look at Scorpio, Scorpio is fixed water. All right, fixed water is opposite here. So that's the most important thing to understand, is opposite here. And when we have, you know, energies that's opposite, you know, they're in an uncomfortable place. They're in a vulnerable place. They're in it's in a place that is unfamiliar with dealing with its energies, okay? So Scorpio, you know, being fixed water, first of all, water is dealing with connecting the subconscious, the emotions, all right? The underground, the behind the scenes, especially Scorpio water. Scorpio deals with the underworld. It deals with being behind the scenes, with the occult, all right? With transformation, our deep passions, motives, and desires. So when we look at Scorpio in the second house, when it comes to this person's value system, they can be very discreet about it. All right, they can be very discreet about it. This could be something that they keep to themselves. They have a very stealthy way of moving around their values, the people, places, and things that they value. These things can be very sacred to them, all right? They keep them close. So whenever we're dealing with water, you know, there's more feeling added into it. So these people have a strong subconscious influence towards the things that they connected to in their value system. And because it's so strong, because they have such a deep connection to, you know, what is it they feel like they can offer to the world, this creative attribute that they have, something that they could use to make money, something that they could use to build stability and security, that ends up being the reason why it could stay behind the scenes. And that's what, you know, and when we look at Scorpio here, that's the detriment of having the opposite sign here. There's positive and negatives to everything, but, you know, we're starting with the detriment for the most part. I like to say, when we look at the Scorpio axis, this is the way I like to describe it. You know, when we look at the Scorpio Taurus opposite axis, I like to say Taurus is the actual manifestation of the, you know, the fixed earth, which is the tree, the plant, the flower. Scorpio is the root under, all right? You don't see the roots though. You don't see all of that under, you just see the physical manifestation of Taurus. So I like to say that's the back and forth opposite ends of Scorpio and Taurus. You have the physical realm, what's manifested in the physical realm, and you got more so of the subconscious, deep-rooted motive and desire, not deep-rooted motive behind it, okay? I said desire, even though Scorpio deal with desires, but y'all get it, the motive behind it, what's being structured and rooted behind it, okay? The deeper intention, the seed that even had to get planted in the first place and had to go through transformations to cultivate itself. So Scorpio in the second house go through a lot of transformations and trying to understand what is it going to put time into and invest in in order to grow into the physical realm. Okay, and we know this house ain't really dealing with transformation. This house is dealing with staying fixed on something, being diligent, working in a gradual manner, letting things build, investing time into things. So Scorpio here may transform a little too much. It may transform a little too much, okay? Now Scorpio is fixed. It's fixed. So having aligning with the modality is good here, because it's going to stay locked in. Once it finds that thing that it wants to provide security and stability, it's going to stay locked in. I like to say Scorpio is one of the most underrated creative signs in the zodiac. So when I see Scorpio in the second house, this person is going to have some deep values, all right? So the things they value may not be some light surface level shit everybody else is into. Their music has some substance. What they feel like they value to the world may be some shit that could really transform and influence others. Okay, so there's a lot of time, there's a lot of substance that they even put behind it. Okay, a lot of energy that they even put behind whatever it may be. All right. The house ruler here is Mars. So we got Mars and Pluto. Pluto's a co-ruler. We got Mars and Pluto. What's the name? Ruling this house. So you want to know what house Mars is in, because the house Mars is in, that's the area that you're already being influenced to play with in order to build some structure and stability in this lifetime. We know the house lords provide direction, help us to evolve in these areas of life. So you want to see what Mars at, but that's the thing. Mars and Pluto debilitated in this house. Okay, so what Scorpio in the second house needs to understand is y'all can't change things until you have a valid reason to change things with Scorpio in the second house. You could take the initiative to want to utilize your ability to teach. And Scorpio is Scorpio's a spiritually inclined sign. Okay, so 9 out of 10 times Scorpio in this, not 9 out of 10, but there's a high chance Scorpio in this house will dive into forms of expressing spirituality or teaching, or taking things from the behind the scenes realm and bringing it into reality for us in some type of shape or form. Their career approach can deal with that, even though you want to see what house Mars is in. But when you have Mars and Pluto here, it can transform a lot of, before it even gets a chance to establish something, see the result of something. So that's important to understand here. Mars and Pluto do a little too much influence in the second house. So they're going to be real passionate. They're going to have a strong ass drive for what they do here. Can possibly be a bit impulsive a little bit when it comes to career approaches. So that may be another reason why it gets transformed here with Scorpio. All right, being opposite. Maybe a whole nother reason to get transformed here. But one of the biggest takeaways I want y'all to understand with Scorpio here, y'all are very creative with Scorpio in this house. The things that you're creatively into can really gravitate to others, can really connect to others, can really touch others, no matter whatever it is that you're doing. All right, whatever it is you're crafting in this house. But the thing is, it has to come to that surface. It has to come to the surface. It cannot stay rooted. It cannot, you need to take care of that seed, water that seed so it could come into reality, so it could come into fruition. Scorpio in the second house, so Scorpio could be a little bit too behind the scenes in this house. So this is where the opposites, really clash. So, that's like the positive and negatives of Scorpio in this house, okay? You may feel like Scorpio in this house, depending on where the house lord is at, you guys may feel like it takes so much work to get light and attention for what is it that you're doing. So, Scorpio is real individual here. So not only what you do, what this person's career approach is going to be, a lot of times going to be some different shit. It may be some taboo shit, and that could be another influence for transformation. It could be a number of things. When we're looking at energies that deal with transformation, it could be a number of things. So that could be another influence of why you transform a lot here, because what you do career-wise or what your career approach is already hella individual. All right, so it's important to understand that you got to work there. You got to put time into that shit. All right, in order to gain that link, gain that traction, you got to stick with it. All right, and you got to allow yourself to find new ways to work on that old goal instead of finding new goals that you're never going to be able to get planted with something with Scorpio in this house. Okay, I got Scorpio in the Earth house. Okay, so I understand the transformations that you may go through in career a lot of the times. All right, it's in my 10th house, so it plays out differently. Okay, but Scorpio in the earth house will bring that transformation, trying to understand how to cultivate certain things. And you can't allow yourself to get frustrated because things ain't working in your manner in the second house. This house needs patience and diligence. Scorpio can somewhat deal with patience. All right, it's fixed. It's long term Pluto here. But it's Mars. Sometimes Mars tries to force his way through things, and you can't always do that in this house. All right, you don't want to do that at all in this house. Actually, you don't want to do that shit at all. All right, guys, so that's what we got going on with Scorpio in the second house. Next we picking it up with Sagittarius, all right, in the second house. Until then, family, peace.